Entry, noun, plural, entries, going in, 1. Countable, uncountable, an act of going into or getting into a place. She made her entry to the sound of thunderous applause. The children were surprised by the sudden entry of their teacher. Entry into something. How did the thieves gain entry into the building? 2. Uncountable. The right or opportunity to enter a place. No entry. For example, on the sign, entry to, into, something. Entry to the museum is free. To be granted, refused entry into the country. Joining group. 3. Uncountable. Entry into something. The right or opportunity to take part in something or become a member of a group. Countries seeking entry into the European Union. The entry of women into the workforce. American entry into the war. In competition. 4. Countable. Something that you do, right, or make to take part in a competition. For example, answering a set of questions. There have been some impressive entries in the wildlife photography section. Impressive photographs. The closing data for entries is 31st March. The sender of the first correct entry drawn will win a weekend for 2 in Venice. 5. Uncountable. The act of taking part in a competition, race, etc. Entry is open to anyone over the age of 18. An entry form. 6. Singular. The total number of people who are taking part in a competition, race, etc. There's a record entry for this year's marathon. Written information. 7. Countable. An item, for example, a piece of information, that is written or printed in a dictionary, an account book, a diary, etc. An encyclopedia entry. Entry in something. There is no entry in his diary for that day. Related entries. Parts of a book. 8. Uncountable. The act of recording information in a computer, book, etc. Door, gate. 9. Also, entryway. Both North American English. Countable. A door, gate, or passage where you enter a building. An entrance hall. You could leave your umbrella in the entry. Extra examples. Caesar's triumphal entry into Rome. Drugs are believed to come into the country through 5 main entry points. Entry tickets to most attractions are included in the price of the holiday. Entry to university should be based on academic potential. Fire Marshal's brought entry to the hall. First, examine the entries on the marriage register. He found the door locked, but he forced an entry. Hungary's entry into the EU. I post the occasional blog entry. It has been necessary to restrict entry into the club. Look at the dictionary entry for welcome. New York was the point of entry for most immigrants arriving in the U.S. Send in your entry as soon as possible. She applied for entry to Nottingham University. She wondered how she could gain entry to the building. The champion made his usual dramatic entry into the arena. The club offers free entry to women on Thursdays. The course will ease students' entry into a career. The house was quiet, and there were no signs of a forced entry. The landlord had the right of entry to the building with due warning. The show attracted entries from all over the country. The sign on the gates read, "No unauthorized entry." The state should reduce entry barriers for developing countries. The winning entry will be published in next month's issue. There were a record 2,000 entries in the under 17 section. These qualifications will not guarantee you entry into the police force. They were later allowed entry into the country. Very little information is given in the diary entries. We had too many entries for this event. We have had a lot of entries this year. One of the best entries to our competition. The dramatic entry to the gallery. The last entry she made in her diary. Undocumented workers seeking entry to the U.S. A sign said, "No entry." Entry to the party conference was denied to several journalists. Hotel guests have free entry to the sports center. On my entry, they immediately stopped what they were doing. That was before the American entry into the war. The children were silenced by the sudden entry of Mrs. Robbins. The singer was refused entry to the U.S. Things changed forever with the entry of women into the workforce. Until 1968, Commonwealth citizens were allowed free entry into Britain.